Good morning, valued viewers. Today for something a little different. We're going to try and diagnose and or fix ABS/TCS, that is the anti-lock braking system, traction control system. Interestingly, not too dissimilar from the ABS that you would get in an aircraft. So we've got a 2004 Renault Clio here, and if I were to turn the ignition on, stand by. Pow. It's going to run its bits, built-in tests. It's again originally derived from aircraft. And some of those you can ignore, some of those are normal because the engine is off. Like stop is normal, handbrake is normal, battery is normal, or alternating. What is not normal, engine light is normal, just again because the engine's not running. Green is normal, passenger seatbelt is normal. What's not normal is ABS. It's run its bit for the ABS and it's found an alert and it's given us a no-go. Traction control, orange one with a little skiddy car, it's run, again that's linked to the ABS. If the ABS is on, then you'll get the traction control on as well. And probably because those two have come up, serve has come up, which just means take it to a garage, something's wrong. Okay, the car will still run, you can still get about, but it's incredibly dangerous to run like this, not because the ABS doesn't work, which is true, but because this type of vehicle is designed to only work with ABS. So if you don't have ABS, then the bias is wrong. It doesn't have a bias valve like my old Nissan or something like that. So you're going to get 50-50 bias on this, on a car, which is, you know, that's not how brakes should work. It just won't work, it'll lock up. Let's not tell Alison that. So we've got to go and fix it. Never fixed an ABS, this is all new to me, so we'll figure it out as we go. My understanding, there are four things that can be wrong here. One, we could have a fuse. Two, we could have a problem in the wiring. We're about 50 wires involved in the ABS total. It could be a problem there. Three, it could be a sensor problem. There are four sensors, one on each wheel, that determines the rotation, how fast each wheel is spinning. It could be them, or it could be the inductor rings, which are part of the wheel that the sensor reads. So it could be any of those kind of four things. Now, I have already run some diagnostics. I've obviously gone and tested the fuses. The fuses are fine. I've had a look at the wires, but there's obviously very limited I can do to look at the wires, and if it is a wire problem, it's probably just screwed and there's nothing I can do about it. Wire problems are incredibly difficult to solve, if solvable at all. And then there is the sensors, which we're going to go and look at today, and the magnetic rings as well, either of which are replaceable if they're broken. The sensors are replaceable, and the magnetic rings are replaceable if needs be. Other diagnostics I've done a DTC, diagnostic trouble code check, and there are none that have come up, so we're going to have to do it manually with a voltmeter. Annoyingly, it's just the system in this DTC system simply isn't good enough to pick up an ABS or TCS problem. So first thing, let's snip the wheels off and go and have a look at the sensors. Stand by. So if we have a look at the system, we're on the near side front here. There's the magnetic ring there, you can see that's attached to, in this case, the axle on the front wheel drive car. It spins round, and as far as I'm concerned, it's just a lug of iron with teeth on. I may be wrong, but let me know. It looks like a really shoddy design on this. The teeth are small. They're liable to rust by the looks of it. You know, it'd be nice like the Nissan, you've got rust, zinc or alloy or whatever it is, you know, non-rust thing. So what I've done is I've spent a couple of hours cleaning all these teeth. This was just solid, a mixture of mud and iron oxide. It was just crap. So I've got it as good as I could now, and you'll see the sensor, really kind of hard to see. You see the sensor there, and it's just got there. It's just a magnet, you know, kind of electromagnet sensor. Just a coil of copper basically in here with a capacitor that's going to, it's either a battery or a capacitor, I don't know what, it's going to store charge, because an ABS sensor, it has to work. Let me get this right. So this is a spinning piece of iron, right, with the teeth. This is a coil of copper. So if you, due to the laws of electromagnetism, spin this piece of iron, you will induce a current in this copper coil, right? So if I'm spinning this, the car's moving, this is spinning, so that's all fine. If this stops, it means that it won't induce a current anymore, and then it knows that the wheel has stopped turning, or does it? Could it be that there's a problem, like the sensor has broken, it's got moisture in it? So it can't just rely on the lack of current generated, to assume that the wheel has stopped turning. So you'd have a capacitor or a battery in here to make sure that it can keep working. That's as far as I understand it, and I don't understand it any more than that. You guys will have to probably have a better understanding. So if something fails in here, assuming it's not damaged, then it's probably capacitor / battery, whatever is in there, is run out, damaged, got moisture in it, or whatever. What we're going to do is go through all 4 corners now and check the voltage, the direct current voltage generated on this sensor when I'm turning the inductor here. Stand by. Well, we've checked the 2 fronts, haven't bothered checking the back, they're a pain in the butt to get to. So on the offside front, what happens is you turn the axle and I get a direct current voltage generated, and it's bouncing between about 0.8 and 0.9 volts, which I think, guessing, I haven't looked it up, I'm guessing for a sensor it sounds about right. This one, however, which should be identical, if I turn the axle, and this is the one with the better inductor ring as well, if I turn the axle with, if you can see here, I've unplugged the sensor, I've my voltmeter here, and if you look at the display on the voltmeter as I turn the axle, which way does the wheel go? It goes that way, doesn't it? You can see I'm getting a very small voltage there, maybe you know, maybe up to say 0.02 volts, which is probably below threshold. So I'm going to have a guess that, and this is a guess that this, I've never done this before, the capacitor or probably the battery inside this sensor is broken and it's got water in it or whatever, just run out, and so we replace it, and fingers crossed that it's going to fix it. I have a look at the sensor itself. It could be a bit problematic because you see, where is he there? Getting that out without removing the axle is going to be a massive pig. So what I'm going to try to do is just smash it out with a hammer, burn it out with a blowtorch, and that obviously I won't be able to screw out, and just angle grind that screw off, and then if we weld a new stud in, and I guess we try that. I'll report back when we get a new sensor. Well, that turned into a massive ball ache, as it usually does, but we managed to get it out. We did have to pop the axle in the end, which is really annoying, but it's done. So what we've got here now is that the housing is cleaned up as best I can. It's really hard to get to. You see, of course, the bolt snapped, so I welded a new bolt kind of halfway up it and cleaned it up as best I can with that situation. Next, I've got a new sensor. It's 16 quid, amazing. It's one of the reasons why I keep this car, it's so cheap to repair. So you've got the old one here. Now here's the interesting thing. You've got basically a piece of steel. I thought this was going to be complex, coil of wire, you know, things, circuits, stuff in it. It turns out not so much. You've got a piece of metal, which is, you can see there how it's broken. It'd be interesting to know what kind of metal that was. It's not just steel, it's something. And then it goes down in this guy here, which just goes down as a piece of metal and sticks out the bottom there. And it comes up into a housing here, you see in there? There's nothing in there, it's just a plastic housing. And it goes in there, and it somehow then goes into this wire. I don't know how it does it, but there's nothing complex in there. I suppose you can see why it's 16 quid at the end of the day. New one, I'm going to grease it up. I guarantee it's not going to fit because I guarantee that hole is shrunk, because that's life. Grease it up and see if we can get it fitted. Stand by. Fitted, just about fit. Car still doesn't work, or the error's still there. Tested the voltages. Annoyingly, it makes exactly the same voltage as the one that was already there. So what I've accidentally gone and done, and this is what Supergap does, is I've gone and replaced the working side with a new sensor. So it was all just a massive waste of time, which is great. So what I've done now is what I should have done in the first place. I've stripped off the rears as well and tested the rears, and the rears make the same as this side here. So the error is actually the one over the other side, the offside front, which is reading the voltage all the time, even when the wheel's not spinning. And I was completely wrong about how the sensor works. It obviously does not have any kind of capacitance or battery. Just my understanding of it was wrong. So I guess this is how we learn. I found it very hard, by the way, to find any information about this. I can't find anything anywhere about this particular car and how to do the system. So it's all going to have to be learned by trial and error by the looks of it. So I order a new sensor, another one. Strip the other side down, other side front, replace that one, fingers crossed, then it should work. I'll report back next weekend. Welcome back, valued viewers. It's the next weekend, or a week's just gone by. We've got another sensor in. I've prepped it, put it in, tested it, and it works exactly the same as the one over the other side, the new one we put in, and now the same as the rears. And connect the battery up, ignition on, running the bit test. Stop. ABS TCS off. So that, it turns out, is how you diagnose and fix ABS TCS, or at least on a Renault. I'm pretty sure I could probably do any car now. If the problem is a sensor, which is 99%, it's probably going to be a sensor or a fuse. Nothing else to say. I hope that was useful to see you later.